Hello, long time no see. So, I am starting a new project today focused on my eyeshadow palettes, and I'm going to show you what it is. So, I have filmed a video showing which 30 eyeshadow palettes I brought with me. You may notice the background is different. We have moved temporarily, and I'm feeling like actually there's a massive echo in this room, but we'll see how the sound is and I'll see what I can do about it if it's bad. So we had to move temporarily. Repairs need to be done to our house, and then hopefully we're going to move back in when the repairs are finished. We rent. We had no control over any of this, but hey, it is what it is. So we were able to store some of our things upstairs because it's only repair work that needs to be done on the ground floor in our old house. Real house we'll be going back to, whatever. So I left a lot of my makeup there, not all of it, and not all of it in every category. Like, I thought I should bring all of my mascaras that are open and things like that, because I don't really want to leave them for 3 months and then go back to using them. But eyeshadow palettes, I definitely did not need them all. So I brought 30, and I would like to get use out of all of them over the next few months. We're not sure exactly how long we'll be here. So I have decided to join the project Level Up. Sophie Alexandra started this project, and it's kind of a mix between different panning ideas to both get use out of a lot of your collection and hit some pans. I am going to do Ruth Foley's Project Level Up Lite version, which is a bit less focused on hitting pan. So what I'm going to be doing is, for level 1, using every shade once and using one focus shade 5 times, and then level 2, every shade twice and 2 focus shades 6 times, and so on. I'm going to start with 5 palettes, which I know seems like a bit much, but I think level 1, particularly with just 5 uses on the focus shades, isn't too bad. So I'm going to start with all 5, and then as I roll them out, once I complete the level, I'm going to roll in a new one on level 2. With some exceptions, some of my palettes are a bit big, they have a lot of shades. Like, I have one of the Colourpop Mega palettes, I have a Beauty Bay 42 shade palette. I'm not doing level 2, 3, 4, 5 on those. I'm doing level 1 on those. So I don't care when they get rolled in, they'll be level 1. Other palettes are generally open to be any level. So I film on my phone, so I can't do it live for you. I selected the palettes recently. I might have the footage up. And the first palette is the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. So I think this is perfect for this time of year. It's basically the autumn that will be here. So it's the end of summer now. I'm obviously very summery today. So beautiful bronze palette. Doesn't really have an inner corner shade. That would be the only kind of negative of this palette to me. And it's all like quite mid-toned. So some people would want more depth, more light, more dark to get more depth, but like or get more dimension, but you do have some with this. But anyway, using every shade once will be very easy. I did randomize and roll for my focus shade, and the shade I got is Palladium, which is beautiful. I selected these palettes last week, so 1 or 2 I've already used as part of the project, and I wouldn't have really thought to, I like this shade, I knew I liked this shade, but I wouldn't have really thought to focus a look around it other than it being rolled as my focus shade, and I did that the other day and I really liked it, so I'm excited about that. I just, as you know, or may not know, Bliss and Silk are my favourite shades. Did I point to Silk or did I point to Palladium? Bliss and Silk are my favourite shades, so I would generally focus my looks on those. So it's kind of nice to have a reason to reach for another shade. So I think that'll be easy enough, no problem. The next palette I rolled was the LA Girl VIP Desert Dream eyeshadow palette. These are the palettes that all had 2, and then it's unclear what the name is. So I'm pretty sure Desert Dream is the actual name of this individual palette, and that the other one was Main Stage, like blue and greens. So this is right up my alley, and this is the palette I have on my eyes today. So this is my kind of colour. When I am playing with colour, I love pinks. And I think yellow goes so well with pink. Obviously I have that today, and then I have a bit of orange in the outer corner as well. So yeah, I really like this. I love the formula. Originally I rolled this shade, oh, they do have names, but they're on the back, Guest List, but I rolled another very light shimmer that I'm going to use for inner corner highlighting in another palette, so I wanted to re-roll. So I got this pink matte Take a Pick, which is very nice and is similar to, but not the same as, my favourite, one of my favourite pink mattes, or maybe my favourite pink matte, which is in the LA Girl, the other palette in this format that I have that I can't remember what it's called. So yeah, it's actually quite cool tone. I did wear it today, but then I have this deeper pink and a pink shimmer like on top of it, so it doesn't really have much effect today. But I actually used loads of shades today. I'll just tell you while we're here. I used this in the inner corner, this guy and this guy on the inner lid, the pink matte, 2 pink mattes and this pink shimmer on the center lid, and then this, and this in the outer corner. This was a bit of a kind of blending the pinks and the oranges together shade as well. So yeah, I've used loads of this already. We're flying, and definitely think level 1 will be no problem. This is the kind of thing where I'm like, I don't want to do the full proper level up project, because there are 35 grams of product in here and 16 shades, so that's more than 2 grams of eyeshadow per shade. I don't want to fight to hit pan on that. I'd rather use all of them. Love using those lovely flaky shimmers. Just do a few of them for you. Yeah, one thing I don't like is I'm not happy with my lighting here. In order to have stuff in the background, as opposed to just wardrobes, which like I'll just close them, but they're not, I can't really put stuff on them to make them look nice. I have to be at this angle and the window's over there, so then I feel like I have no good lighting over here. Anyway, I'll see how it goes, and maybe I'll like angle a little bit more in future. But there's some of those shimmers swatched, and obviously you can see some of them on my eyelid as well. I used them all with a brush today and I thought they worked very well, but they definitely work great with your finger. So if you hate using your fingers, it's not necessarily the formula for you. But I found them particularly good with this like very small flat shader brush from Nabla, from the, I think, Amethyst brush set, I think is what it's called, but I'm not certain that's what it's called. But the purple brush set in the very sparkly bag, which is very nice. I don't think you can buy that shape brush individually. Sorry, one of the swatches stained my finger a little bit, so I'm trying to get rid of it. The next palette I rolled will make things a little easier because it's not so big. It is the Natasha Denona Mini Gold. And then I did, you know I love this, I did roll for the focus shade as well. And I got my favourite shade, Door, which is this green gold shimmer. Just so beautiful. Love it so much. So I was thinking, because I'll probably do one look and use every single shade in the one look to get using all the shades out of the way, and then I was thinking I will, to get the other 4 uses on the focus shade, probably go with mattes from my Panda palette, which is like not going very well. Like I just put my fingers in them to feel, and like this is the only matte that you can even feel a dip in. Like it just looks like nothing's happening with the mattes. You can see and feel dips in the shimmers, but I'm like, what do I need to do to hit pan on those mattes? I'm not sure exactly. So I think that combo will serve my panning purposes very well. And I do think like that light matte is so neutral. It could like really work with anything, and looking forward to that. So I think that'll be easy enough. Next is another small palette, the Bobbi Brown Pink Glow Luxe Quad. which is so nice. It is all this baked Chile special shade, and this is the palette where I rolled the light shimmer, which I think I'll definitely be primarily using in the inner corner, though it is a bit more like glittery than just a standard shimmer. But I used this one all over the lid yesterday or the day before yesterday, and it's just so pretty. I think I used my Zoeva Soft Sun and then that, and it was so nice. So I've already used one of them once, just need to use the other three once, and then the focus shade 5 times, and I'll be done on that. What was I going to say? That formula does layer really well over a cream, but like I used it with just my regular eyeshadow base the other day, and it was really pretty as well. And that taupe shade is a more kind of satin, so you could definitely do like a one and done, or kind of use that a bit like it looks so shiny there, but you can kind of use it to give some structure to the crease, etc., if you want, and then like pat it on to make it more intense on the lid as well. It's really beautiful. That shade is in more than one of these palettes. Lauren May Beauty had the one, these are like Christmas releases or holiday releases, usually from Bobbi Brown, and Lauren May Beauty had one from last year, and I was looking at the swatches and I was like, oh, do I need that? No, the shade I was interested in was this shade. I have it already. So glad to have a reason to pull that one out. And then finally, this is obviously not a standard palette. This is a collection of my singles, because I wanted to bring, kind of wanted to bring all of them, but I wanted to bring some of them and get some use out of them while we are here. So using every shade once in this is actually going to be a bit tricky, because as you can see, I have 3 rows of shimmers and 1 row of mattes. So I'll definitely have to hop into other palettes. Like I get these, some of these mattes are amazing. I'll use them repeatedly, no problem. But you know, it's not, this isn't an eyeshadow palette somebody designed to all work together. It is predominantly a collection of singles. I wasn't like trying to build the perfect palette or anything like that. So I'll just let you know what I've got in here. So these 12 are Sydney Grace. These 3 are the Sephora collection individual shadows that come in their own little packaging, but they actually are magnetic and removable. Now they're very creamy, 2 of them, and I am a little worried that they're going to dry out, but they definitely still feel usable now. One of them's not as creamy, this one. I'm not going to swatch this whole palette today, maybe another time. So these bottom 2 are very creamy, and this one is less creamy, so I'm not worried about it. But the creamy ones, I'm thinking maybe they needed to be in that packaging they came in to preserve the creaminess of them so they don't dry out, but they weren't super expensive, so I was like, I'm going to see how it goes. And I really didn't want to bring a bunch of loose little eyeshadows that I could so easily lose. I wanted to focus on palettes, or like this, making it into a palette made it easier to kind of travel with. And then most of what's left is Glam Shop. So everything over here is Glam Shop. And then this guy is Sigil, inspired by Tammy Tanuka, the coin in 13, which is just quite different for me because it has a black base, like a much darker base. I'll swatch it next to some of my Sydney Grace pinks. You just see like it's quite different. So yeah. And then some of the Glam Shops, we've got like really special shades, like this holographic shade. So definitely very pleased that this is in level 1, though as I say, if it had been in a higher level, I probably would have just been like, do you know what, I'm going to do level 1, which I will definitely be doing if some of my other big palettes roll into this. I've now glitter all over the place and I can't deal with it. So yeah, Look at that, isn't it so pretty? Can you tell I like pinks and neutrals? So those are my 5 palettes to try and do level 1 of Project Level Up Lite. I am not going to worry too much about checking in every month or every 2 weeks or every particular amount of days, because I have found I dropped the ball massively with other projects this year, and part of the problem is trying to film on a very particular schedule, because my work schedule is like it. I understand it, it makes sense, but it doesn't follow the month or the week. It doesn't care about that. So for me, it's often very difficult because I'm just in the middle of night shifts, and then I'm not awake when there's daylight to film, or I'm really tired because I'm just finished 6 days in a row or whatever it is. So I would much prefer to probably film when I have a couple of palettes to roll out, whenever that is. So that might be in a week, might be in a month, who knows. And then it'll just be an update because I have something to update you on rather than on a particular schedule. My nails look from some angles like there's nothing on them, but I do have a sparkly top coat on them, just on its own, and I think it's very nice when it catches the light. So yeah, that is everything, and hopefully I will have some updates in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye.